So today I wanted to talk to you all about digital transformation. The reason that I've chosen this subject for today is because quite a few of our large clients are actually going through digital transformation at the moment, and we've started to get involved in their planning and the activities around it. So what I want to talk through today is what actually is digital transformation, why has it become such a buzzword in the industry, what are the approaches that you can take, the typical ways that you can make it successful. Also I want to talk about who's done it well in the industry, and then also just some of the common pitfalls that clients can come under and how to avoid them. So first of all, what is digital transformation? So this is the official description of digital transformation: the realignment of or new investment in technology, business models and processes to more effectively compete in an ever-changing digital economy. But what does that actually mean? Well, for me, it's really turning the whole of the big organisations on their head and actually making them have digital at the core of their processes. Whereas before, digital campaigns used to come at the end of people's thinking and thinking about how they were going to drive products to the market. Actually now we need to think about digital at the very heart, and that means a complete shift in the way big companies are thinking. Just to make it clear in terms of how much of an emphasis there's going to be in 2017, Forrester predicts that it's going to top the $1 billion bar in terms of the amount of budget that's actually going to go into digital transformation this year. And 67% of CEOs say that it's going to be a core part of their business strategy for 2017. So it's really being taken seriously within the market. But why the sudden urgency? Well, customers are going through a hyper-adoption stage at the moment. Customers actually know more about products than large clients do. And this means that they really are going to be taking on new products before companies have even started thinking about how they're going to market through those products. So they need to be aware of it. It's also through the digital-led companies that have recently come through in the last few years have started taking opportunities that more traditional clients are losing. So if you think about Amazon within the retail space, Airbnb within the hotel and accommodation space, and Uber within the travel space and the taxi area, they've actually started taking revenue from people that aren't taking digital seriously within the client space. And it drives results. In the companies that have actually taken digital transformation seriously over the last 2 to 3 years, they've already started seeing an uplift in engagement, conversion, and ultimately in revenue for their products. So how do you approach it? Well, these are my key components for a good digital transformation to happen. So at the very top end, you've got the overall digital transformation strategy, and the clear driver behind this is very senior leadership. This isn't something that can be driven by bottom down within client organisations. This has to be senior led, and it has to have the engagement behind it. And then I've put together my 3 key pillars that I think are important basically for success. So they're driven around customer focus, operational excellence, and an updated business model. And then underneath all of that and driving it through is digital capability across the organisation. So within customer focus, first of all, this is all around having that data-informed digital customer journey mapped out. I think where clients have gone wrong before is they've thought about their old analogue style ways in which clients will find their products, and actually they've got to think about future and what products are coming out into the market. And predictive marketing as well. With all of the data out there, we really need to start thinking about how predictively to think about how a customer's going to find the products. And then operational excellence, this is really around the infrastructure of a client. So the amount of clients that I've spoken to where they want to be at innovation and they want to be thinking digitally, but actually they haven't got Wi-Fi across their organisation, or they've got a firewall, which means that some of their teams can't even access their own website. They need to start thinking about this in terms of their infrastructure and how it's going to drive teams to make changes. The main thing for me is not to underestimate the culture change that's needed within an organisation. So there's going to be teams that are very experienced and they understand all of the products and they've worked in the company for quite a few years, but actually are they digital savvy? Do they know how those products are going to react in a digital world? And also agile approach and connected teams, so thinking about that kind of release fast and learn quickly approach so that they can make the most out of new product innovation. And then an updated business model, so thinking about what digital products look like in the new world. Enterprise integration, so how integrated is your CRM system to all of the other customer platforms. And shared digital services, how much your team's interconnected on a daily basis. And then digital capability, which is all about training and education. And this is the set process that I would put in place. So the first step that you should take for digital transformation is leadership and education. Digital maturity model, this is where you can start thinking about the as is and think about where your company sits on the digital landscape, thinking about where you are now and where you want to be. The next stage you can move into is customer and product visioning. This is the exciting stage where you think, hang on, where are people going to find our products in the future? And then it goes into planning and organisation. One of the key things for this is that once you've started planning and organising for digital transformation, it doesn't just stop there. This is actually a change ongoing. This isn't just a project and a one-stop shop. So now I just wanted to talk about some of the areas and some of the questions that clients can think about when they start to think about those different pillars. So customer focus first of all. So think about actually who is your customer. It might not be the same customer that you've had in an analog world. Who is your customer in a digital world? Also think about how existing and potential customers are finding your product. One of the most important things you can do from digital transformation point of view is actually map your customer journey and make sure that you all become involved in that customer mapping process. And think about all the digital touch points that a customer will have with your product. So it's not just a case of them coming online to your website. They're actually going to be talking to their friends about the products. Think about all of the different areas where they're going to be finding out and potentially buying. Operational excellence. So some of the key areas that you can think about here is what percentage of your operational processes are digitised at the moment. And then even further than that, what percentage of your customer-facing processes are digitised and available online? And then how far does that extend along your supplier chain? Think about the answer to all of those questions so that you have the base for where you are now and where you need to move to in the future. And then an updated business model. So after you've done that customer journey mapping and you've thought, right, where are we digitally as an organisation? Think about your product. Do you need to change your product plan based on the needs of your customers? Does it reflect the right pricing approach? Actually, will subscriptions work in a different way for you? And will it disrupt the market and take opportunity from your competitors? And then just thinking about digital capability. So how digitally savvy are your teams at the moment? And don't just think about your digital marketing team. Think about all of the teams within your industry. There'll potentially be some junior people that are more digitally savvy than the people in your marketing team. So, have a think about that and what opportunities that gives you. Think about the analytics that you've got in place and are they used for actionable insights? It's very easy to create more and more business information, but actually are you using it to your advantage as a company? And how integrated are your business and IT solutions? And then these are just some of the common mistakes that I've seen from digital transformation. Don't assume where the knowledge is. As I said before, some of your more junior members of staff could actually be more digital savvy than some of your experienced members. There's a real opportunity here to have connected clusters of teams and actually put those together so that you create more opportunity. Also, don't follow the usual competition. It's really important with digital to make sure that you're innovating, and actually your usual competitors might not even be in the digital landscape at all. What you've got to think about is the aspirational people like Apple, like Google, like Amazon. Think about what they're doing in digital and think about whether some of the tactics could actually work for you. And don't treat it as a one-off project. This is actually a constant change. Digital is now just the world that we're in, and it's not something that just happens as a project and then it's left. So who's done it well? These are my top three. Lego, first of all. By 2004, I think it was, Lego was on a decline in terms of revenue. They weren't doing that well as a company at all, and actually the sales were going down. They started digital transformation from 2004 and they've been doing amazing work ever since. Anyone that's got kids, they've even merged digital with their actual in-store experience. They've done it in a brilliant way. They've also looked at the way that customers are actually interacting with their product, and that's where their new, the kind of like the film strategy, etc., has come out. So they've done it really well. Burberry, they started a few years ago in terms of digital first as a strategy, and they've completely revolutionised the way that their digital is working, and they're now a digitally focused company. And then the last one is Starbucks, who rather than just creating a customer app, actually turned an app idea into a customer loyalty process and transformed from the point of view of a customer going into store. They actually had an app where you could order online. Through that, it meant that the person got great customer service, but it also meant that they were then gathering a great amount of data so that they could do that test and release and make their products better for the future. And then I just wanted to leave on our role as an agency within this, because I know it can seem like it's something that clients will do. And we don't get that involved, but actually training and education first of all. So this is where we've really got to help support our clients. It's not just going to be the digital and the marketing teams that are potentially going through this, so we need to make sure that we're there to support for all groups and think about kind of where we can help in terms of bringing their skills and training up to speed. And then also just stay connected and develop campaign strategies that are in line with that overall business strategy. So when we're there talking with the clients and they've got this overall strategy of where they're going to get to, we need to make sure that our campaigns are in line with that and they're really going to complement their overall business transformation. And that's it.